So if anyone knows me, they know I love a good therapeutic metaphor. So today we're going to learn about the window of tolerance and how you can widen it in 4 easy steps. So what is a window of tolerance? So the window of tolerance is that state in which we function well. It's where we are remaining calm, where we are composed in the face of stress. It's that optimal state in which our emotions can be experienced, and which that experience can be tolerable. Even down to the physiological level, when we're outside that window of tolerance, our nervous system goes into survival mode. It's the flight, or freeze. You either get overwhelmed or you go into what is known as hyperarousal. So you can be overwhelmed by all these things. It feels like too much is going on, or the opposite can happen. You can go into hypo-arousal, in which you totally shut down. And so that is really what the window of tolerance is about. It's about being able to manage those stressors with a sense of ease and reason. So the first step with this is to just kind of be more aware of what the window of tolerance is. And like I said before, that window of tolerance is that optimal zone of arousal. So it's not hyperarousal or hypoarousal. It's where you are able to cope and thrive in everyday life. And so everything outside of that, by comparison, can go either one of those 2 ways, where you can be overwhelmed or you can shut down completely. And so the goal of this therapy technique is to widen that, so you don't have to be stuck in those situations. So for step 2, you'll probably want to get a notepad out, as usual with all these therapeutic exercises that I do with you guys. The second step involves thinking of examples in your life where you feel that you remained within your window of tolerance during a stressful or, distressing time in your life. Simple examples could be like someone cut you off in traffic. That's my shortcoming. That's when I have the hardest time staying within that window of tolerance. So that could be something you could write down as your trigger. The next part of that is identifying the signs. What happened in your mind and what happened in your body to cause this? What were the signs that surrounded that trigger for you to act in this way, for you to stay within that window of tolerance? And then the last thing is to recognize the outcome. What happened in that moment where you didn't react, where you weren't reactive and you stayed within that appropriate bound? So for step 3, we're going to go back to the signs. What are signs of your window of tolerance narrowing? When do you feel that you are put in that, hyper-aroused state? You might notice that you become snappy towards loved ones, that you have a shorter temper than usual, that you feel agitated or irritable. So write these down. And then after that, do the opposite. Write down when you feel in a hypo-aroused state. When are the moments where you feel disconnected from people around you, where things happen, stressful things happen, and you just have or you feel like you have little or nothing to contribute, and moments where you might feel emotionally flat or even numb. Step 4, the final step, we're going to talk about staying within the window of tolerance. So not only widening it to reduce chances of becoming reactive or non-reactive, but how do we stay within it? Thinking back to the times when you remained in your window of tolerance, and thinking about your own personal signs of narrowing your window of tolerance, what are some practical things you can do to move back into it, to stay within those bounds of your window of tolerance? Think about some things you could do. I mean, it could be simple as if someone cuts you off in traffic, you could take deep breaths or just take a time out. It's okay to take a step back to avoid becoming reactive to a situation. Write all these down. You can think of more examples of times that you have become reactive and write down the solution. Maybe it's something that you just need to create a mantra in your head and just remind yourself that every time someone cuts you off in traffic, just take a deep breath instead of reacting, instead of cussing them out or maybe, speeding up and expressing your anger. Just breathe and let it go and realize that it was not an important part of your day and that it doesn't matter. The next thing you can think about are practical ways to move back to your window of tolerance from a hypo-aroused state. So those moments where you feel very low or you feel numb or you just don't feel like, you don't feel like you're contributing or you just feel disconnected. So some ways you could get out of this and get back into your window of tolerance from there is engage with people. Even though it's kind of the opposite feeling of what you want to do, call a friend. Call a friend, go for a walk. Sometimes just getting outside and connecting with nature is enough. And other things you could do is maybe engage in writing. If you don't want to go outside and walk, pull out your journal and connect with yourself. And these are some ways that you can get back into that window of tolerance. So I just want to go over a quick review of the different states you can be in. So hyperarousal right here. You can see that this is when you feel extremely anxious, angry, or even out of control. You have threatening feelings that cause you to feel overwhelmed. You might want to fight or run away. This causes you to act defensively, impulsively, have a lot of negative thoughts. And you can see as we move to the window of tolerance, it's that optimal state where you feel like things are just right. You're calm, yet alert, you can think clearly and rationally. The signs are that you're aware of boundaries, you're empathetic, you feel safe, you feel present and open. This is really the optimal state to be in. And down to, hypoarousal, this is when you feel zoned out. Emotionally, physically, time goes missing. You just feel like you're frozen. The signs could be, you don't really have a lot of sensations. You just feel numb. You have no energy. You feel disconnected. You feel empty. And you really don't feel like doing much. And you find that, your brain is foggy. You're having a hard time thinking. So I hope this helped you in your quest to widen your window of tolerance. If you have any questions about this or you want more links to exercises like this, you can email Victoriously Vulnerable or you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks for watching, guys.